It's March Madness, almost end of March, and you are listening here to another episode of Chasing Birdies. Exciting. Golly.
This is very exciting.
I mean, it looks great right now. My podcast partner, Pepe, finally got his camera back in the mix. He's got his new microphone set up right now, and you even sound better.
Everything's better. I feel better. I look better in this camera. I got a big light in my eyes. This is what it used to be like back in the day, boys. So it was nice to get a little break away from it. Today's episode is brought to you by Red Vanley. So make sure you go check them out at redvanley.com. Get yourself some new swag for the spring, summer season. I know we're excited for the Chasing Birdies 2-man that is brought to you by Red Vanley. And we currently have 52 golfers, bud.
Dude, how about the hand-drawn shirts that we had someone mock up?
Yeah.
Our boy Hammer. How sick are those? With the, like, it's like vintage hand-drawn
Yeah.
photo.
It's like cartoonish, too.
Yeah. It's sick.
I love how they spelled Nemacolin, though.
Yeah, we got to take the O out, add the A. I understand. So it's good to be back here on Chasing Birdies, and we have a pretty cool guest today. Daniel Dye is joining us here on the podcast. Races NASCAR, little trucks, fast cars, gets around the track, and naturally is a golf addict. But I felt like my head this past weekend was in a racetrack mode because it was the first weekend of March Madness, dude. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're just dialed in all day, man, you know?
Just bets flying everywhere. I mean, it was just... Saturday was a lackluster day. Definitely donated. But Thursday and Sunday were pretty strong for me. So
it wasn't, I think the feeling of March Madness was good, you know, naturally the energy and whatnot, but there wasn't, other than the Maryland game where the guy hits the bank shot at the buzzer, it really wasn't that. There wasn't anything crazy dramatic this year. You know what I mean?
There were a lot of blowouts. And then, like you said, there was really only one quote unquote game winning shot. That was Maryland.
Yeah.
So that was nice different to see, though, dude. I mean, it was exciting. It's back. March Madness is back. And I'll tell you this much. Matt George called me and chirped me for, oh, you picked all the favorites, like that's rookie mistake, blah, 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 blah. Well, bud, all the favorites are still in it. And you're in 29th place out of 29 people, or whatever it is, 32 people. So, I don't know. I mean, I realize I'm probably about 16th or 17th, but that's better than 29th, so where I come from. So
yeah, no, picking the bracket challenge. It's tough. It's a lot of fun. I love doing it, especially with you, bud. And yeah, it's tough, man. But that's what I was gonna say. You know, you picking the favorites is not terrible because with the way the NIL is working, and all these teams just are spending the money. Like, you know, look at Arkansas. I mean, granted, they weren't anyone that thought was going to be a threat, but I don't know. It's just
look at Arkansas. Look at Kentucky.
Yeah,
Kentucky. They were bounced in the last 2 years, I think, in the round of 64, Sweet 16. Their ex-coach, John Calipari, is now at Arkansas. He's in the Sweet 16. So, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Sweet 16's kicking off tonight. It's going to be awesome. But
what a finish on the PGA Tour, too.
That was
Victor Hovland and Justin Thomas were throwing blows. And Victor Hovland came out on top, which was, it's nice. I mean, he's kind of got a little monkey off his back, too. He was getting criticized for not winning as much, so he's in the winner's circle. It's nice to see Justin Thomas starting to play better. I like where his game's going. He had 62 at the Players. Didn't do well on the weekend. But then he carried that 62 over into this week, and he has played extremely, extremely well this week.
I saw during the Players, I saw McIlroy was like plus 600 to win before Sunday's round went off. So I was like, shit. That's like, I mean, JJ Spawn going to get it done? I don't know. Maybe under some pressure, probably not. So I threw some coin on McIlroy, and I'm like, oh man. So Monday he gets it done. But yeah, you look at those guys, McElroy, and you just said Justin Thomas. Good to see him playing some good golf. You know, Scheffler kind of hasn't been in the mix to date so far.
Yeah.
But you know what? The first major is right around the corner, and that's where my man seems to kick it into overdrive.
Yeah. Augusta's pretty close. So,
but Daniel Dye introduced to us through Neil Walker. Shout out Neil. And actually played some golf with Ian Patrick and Neil down at Pinehurst, and big golf nut pilot. Probably the first race car driver we've had on.
It is the first
podcast,
race car driver we've had on, bud. So
I'm excited to hear what he's got to say.
My big question is, how do you drive on a normal road after going 200 miles an hour?
Right. This is going to be so fun because all these questions. Like, how do you feel about driving a golf cart?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything. We curb jumping? What are we doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, without further ado, let's roll it on over to Daniel Dye.
Let's do it. We got a fast driver on the podcast today. And I just told Pep, Daniel, I said, I don't know if we've had anyone like this on the podcast before. So for the listeners out there, Daniel Dye is joining us here on Chasing Birdies. Chasing more than birdies in life, though, it sounds like to me, bud. Especially at 21 years old.
Yeah, chasing checkered flags is what I do. I do chase birdies too occasionally. They are very good at staying away from me. But it's racing's been a big part of my life for a long time. And obviously got to meet a bunch of cool people, and it's kind of what led me to you guys. So excited to be on this with y'all today.
Yeah, man, we're absolutely stoked too. It's like, that's the way of life, one person to the next, and here we are. And then we're brothers in arms. It's all good.
Well, funny enough, the day this episode is dropping, Daniel, the Buccos season is starting.
Perfect.
It's the first game this Thursday for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So did you happen to, because I know that you love the Pittsburgh Pirates, did you happen to see the Paul Skeens quote?
I did not.
Oh, man. Basically, he came out and said that he's sick of watching a wild card video from how many years ago, and that's sad that that's
20.
What the Pirates are, basically still playing, that there hasn't been a playoff series or anything like that, and he wants to change it. So that's exciting. Get somebody in here with a little bit of a voice.
Yep, a little bit of, it's good having heart, somebody that wants to not just, 9 innings go home. So cool to.
So you're a Pirates fan?
My dad and the whole Dye family grew up in Franklin, Pennsylvania. Cool story that I'm sure we'll get into later. My dad actually has the car that Roberto Clemente won when he won the MVP of the World Series in '71. It's a 1972 Dodge Charger SE.
What?
And I'm sure we'll get into that. We got time for that. But so yeah, Pittsburgh Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, and then Orlando Magic. But it's all Pittsburgh around here.
So are you related to Pete?
No, I know. I wish. No, that would have been cool. We could say yes for the sake of the podcast.
I just get
This
it.
is Pete Dye's stepson.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that.
Redheaded stepchild.
Like, this is his, he just came out. He just got his DNA tested, and apparently he's related to Pete.
I saw something, don't do 23andMe, so I'll hit up Ancestry.com and see if we can, we'll check it out.
So
That's awesome.
let's go, because we met you because of Neil Walker.
Yep.
Played for the Pirates forever. He was your childhood favorite player, which is kind of a cool story. And you guys just recently played golf in Pinehurst, and he was telling me about the Roberto Clemente car that your father has. How the heck did he acquire that? And does he still does he use it still?
No.
Or does it just sit there?
No, so when it was first done, he did drive it like maybe 1 mile, maybe 2. But no, it only drives on and off the trailer. But so the story of that is, so that car is actually what Roberto drove at the airport on New Year's Eve when the plane crashed. And so it sat at the airport for a while and eventually came home and sat in their home country for that long. For what? Until when was the All-Star game in Miami? 2016, 14-ish, 17
probably
maybe?
2016-ish. Yeah, not sure.
And
yeah, I have no idea. Sounds good.
It sat there all that time, and they had talked about it a little bit, and he tells the story a lot better than I do, but it sat there, and they were going to try to get it on a boat, but a boat takes longer, and eventually it's like the week of or the week before the auction that they do at the All-Star game every year to sell signed bats, signed baseballs, jerseys, memorabilia and stuff, and the car is on the list of things they're going to sell. And my dad saw that. Actually, my sister was looking for a Father's Day present. My dad's birthday is around Father's Day too. So she saw that. She's like, hey, look at this. And he was like, well, oh, that's wrong. It said it was a 1971 Dodge Charger, which is 1972 because it was, the end of the year. It's like we'll start seeing 2026 cars coming out soon. And anyways, long story short, it's on an airplane, on a cargo plane, coming over to the States, coming to Miami. And then they wouldn't let it in the building because the All-Star game was sponsored by Chevrolet, and it was a Dodge. And they said, it's a 1972 Dodge. It's 50 years old. Why does it matter now? Anyways, wasn't in the building. He's bidding against the owner of the Clemente Museum in Pittsburgh, and Garth Brooks, and I just fought for what was generally not a very nice car at the time, and then threw all sorts of not all sorts, but threw a decent bit of money at it to make it look like brand new, just like it does in all the pictures with Roberto and his wife standing next to the car when they had it. So there's a bunch of cool pictures that he's got. It actually sits in the showroom. He owns dealerships in Daytona. Sits right in front of his office. It's covered up every month with like a custom car cover with pictures of Roberto doing charitable work and he and his wife standing with the car. But on the 21st of every month, so 3 days ago, it was uncovered. And it's uncovered on the 21st every month. But it's a pretty cool thing.
Cool.
It's his most prized possession.
That awesome. So cool. That's a great story. I'm glad you took time to answer that question because you don't how would you end up with that car?
Yeah,
there's the story.
Crazy. Yeah. And Roberto was my dad's hero growing up, being, just all he did was play baseball. Actually golfed a lot when he was a kid, but my dad was born in 1960, so that's when he's a kid, that's Roberto's obviously the guy on the Pirates. So
yeah,
that was just something that's always
an incredible story.
In his whole office, he's got Roberto jumping to catch a ball on the biggest wall in his office, like kind of like it's not a mural, it's like a wrap of the picture, but it's just still the biggest Roberto Clemente fan to this day, and kind of lives. Roberto said something when he was playing and doing he did a lot of charitable work, and it was something along the lines, and I'm sure we could look it up and get it exactly, but if you're on the earth and you don't make any change, you don't spend time doing something to make other people's lives better than you wasted your time. And whatever the actual quote is up in my dad's office too. That's kind of how my dad lives, and he's been through stuff where he was, health problems as a child and real close to not being able to go any further, and just that kind of has inspired him to do a lot of good work. So the car has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charitable work. Franklin Little League looks the way it does right now because of the Clemente car and the money that we raised with it. Redid the fences and the scoreboard, just redid Franklin Little League. A couple different charities up there, a couple charities back home in Daytona Beach. But man, it's a cool thing. 71 MVP Inc. is actually the name of the charitable organization that kind of operates what the Clemente car does.
So has the Roberto Clemente Museum tried to get this car off of him since?
So the part of the deal was once it was finished, my dad brought it up there and let it sit in the museum for might have been a week or two or something, but they put it on the radio and it was known that it was there, so a lot of people came and that was part. I think we had an event right after it was first done. We had an event there. at the museum, had an event at some auditorium kind of place in Franklin, and that's where we got a lot of the money for the Little League fields. But yeah, I mean, it's done a lot of cool stuff. We gave away a yellow and black Dodge Demon when the Dodge Demons first came out and raffled it off. I forget how many tickets we sold, but at $210 a piece for a ticket. It's a lot of cool stuff. It'd be cool if y'all had my dad on too. He'd tell a story a lot better, and also a much better golfer than I am too.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, but you're the man.
I've gone faster than he has, so there's that.
So are you like pro? What, Pep? Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say real quick. Did Neil tell you the story about his dad with Roberto Clemente?
So that's the craziest part of the whole thing. So me and my grandma would watch a lot of baseball games together, whether we're at lunch after church or at her house or whatever. And always, Neil was my favorite player, and so was hers. Even when he went to other teams, we still rooted for whatever Neil had going on, and then the Pirates. And then I meet a guy at a race, Mid-Ohio, 2023 NASCAR Truck Series race at Mid-Ohio. I'm standing talking to my friend Colby Howard. He was running, I forget what truck he was running. He was also racing that weekend, though. And Colin Dunlap, who does radio in Pittsburgh, was there, and his son Declan is standing there with a hat waiting for me to sign it. And I can talk to Colby later, so I just kind of shooed Colby away and signed Declan's hat and start talking to him. I kind of do the same thing for a lot of people when I have the time to actually talk to the fans. Where y'all from? And Colin said Pittsburgh. I was like, that's cool. We're all Pirates, Steelers, Penguins fans. Neil Walker is my favorite baseball player. And Colin's like, oh yeah, I know Neil. Right, yeah, right. Neil Walker. Okay. And anyways, and I actually I don't have any social media at this point. I'll log into my Instagram like once every 2 weeks, see if anything cool happened. And I log in that Monday morning, and Neil Walker follows me on Instagram. Like, this is the weird. And honestly, like, I always idolized Neil. I had signed jersey, baseball in my room forever, and he had like, I don't know, what is it, like 15,000 followers. Like, that's weird. Like, that's a lot of followers. But Neil Walker, I'd be like, I thought it'd be more. So I text him like, if this isn't fake, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life. And he's like, no, it's me. Colin told me about it. Told me that you mentioned me when y'all were talking at the race and yada, yada, yada. And man, that is the coolest thing ever. And I told my dad about it, and then he told me the Clemente story about, Neil's dad is supposed to be on that plane.
It's crazy.
So it's weird that, like, Roberto Clemente, where we're going to get crazy here, is the reason that Neil Walker is my favorite baseball player.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
connecting the dots.
It was just kind of a sign. I felt like it was a sign from my grandma, right? Like, my grandma kind of checking in, and I don't know. It was cool. And then when Neil asked me to golf a couple weeks ago, I was, again, like, this is just crazy stuff.
That's the type of guy Neil is, man. Neil is, without a doubt, one of the best humans walking the earth.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's just the type of guy he is.
It was kind of disappointing how cool he was. Like, he was like the normal dude. He's supposed to, like, fly away at the end is what I expected. Like, I figured he was going to, like, probably just take off after we golfed or whatever. And yeah, and he, and I mean, no, I mean, we got there. He was, like, excited to see me. Like, that made no sense. Like, who am I? And then, we spend 4 hours golfing. And again, I'm like, still, like, I remember being at we go to spring training every year. And screaming at all the players, right? But I thought I was so cool as a little kid. Mr. Walker, Mr. McCutcheon. Like, they're not going to, because I'm being polite, they're going to come sign my hat. No.
Yeah.
But it was, finally, all these years later, I caught up to him. So it was cool. Golfed, went to the brewery, the Pinehurst Brewery at is like 10 minutes from the golf course. Went to a little Italian restaurant afterwards, and I mean, just like you said, the coolest dude, down to earth. It was pretty wild. And then just still texting. I meant to text him and tell him that I was doing the podcast. I'm sure you already did, but I mean, just super cool dude. Looking forward. I'm trying to get him to a race.
I know. Yeah, that would be dope, man. And that's one thing I got to be honest. And I don't know about Pep, but like I've watched races. They're on TV. You kind of turn it on. You hear the sounds. Everyone says going there is a completely different experience, which I've never done. So that is something that I need to do while I'm walking on Earth.
Y'all are always welcome, man. It is absolutely a crazy experience. We actually had Alvin Kamara hanging out with the team this weekend. The football player. He was hanging out at Homestead this weekend. David Ortiz was there Sunday. But yeah, man, just a cool experience. I grew up being a race fan, and finally at this point, I'm doing what I've always dreamed of doing. But I mean, on TV you see the cars going fast, but until they blast by at 200 miles an hour and you watch them put a full tank of gas and 4 tires on it in 9 seconds, and you're standing 30 feet away from those guys doing it, you don't really you get a good sense for what's going on when you get to experience it in person.
So you mentioned the Dodge earlier, and then you mentioned the Dodge with your. So are you like pro Dodge?
I am not. I race for Chevrolet and drive a Chevy Suburban. So it is. It's a little awkward driving home to Daytona Beach, and when I go see my dad at the dealership, park there in a Suburban. But no, glad to be a part of the bow tie brigade. But yeah, I'm a happy member of Team Chevy.
And where do you live at right now? Are you in North Carolina or?
Yeah, Concord, North Carolina. So about 20 minutes north of Charlotte.
Yeah.
Pep had an Impala once.
Yeah, Team Chevy.
Chevy Impala, boys.
He loved it.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in North Carolina, it is kind of race-heavy population. Dude, what kind of got you into that, though? I'm just curious, because you're young. How old are you, 21?
21, yeah. Well,
I know.
My family's from Pittsburgh, but so my dad's story, he, started washing cars, lot porter, selling cars, manager of a dealership, finally got his own dealership. So cars have always been in the Dye family.
In your life, I got you.
My uncle owns a Nissan dealership. Another uncle works for my dad. Another uncle is a finance manager at a dealership in Pennsylvania. So it's all cars. Always been race fans. My dad's first Daytona 500 was 1970 something with my grandpa, and then just kind of worked his way to Daytona Beach. So came to Daytona 500 as a race fan. Eventually ran a dealership in Huntsville, Alabama. Made his way to Daytona. Once he started making money, he kind of raced as a hobby. And then at that point, when I think I was 7 or 8 when I started. So it's just kind of one of those things. You're just like you put your kid in t-ball. My dad put me in t-ball too, but put me in a race car pretty quick too.
So when did you start driving?
Well, I was 7. It was like my first 7 or 8. I think I practiced at 7 and started racing at 8. But small cars, nothing like big like it's on the street. But at 14 is when I started racing like full body stock cars.
I mean, Bash was still building Legos at 14. You're out there driving cars.
I'm still building Legos at 21, so that's okay.
Yeah. But I mean,
that's insane to me.
No, it is. And it's got to just be in your blood. That's all I can say. Because it's got to be in your blood. Because there is a risk factor in this whole profession. I mean, you're going, how fast you going? You know what I mean? Something can go wrong. But at the end of the day, this is your passion, this is your love, and this is what you're good at. And so that's what I'm saying. For you, it's like innate. It's kind of like it was in your blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I played a lot of sports growing up. I played baseball, basketball, and race. I played a little bit of flag football in middle school. Baseball is probably my best sport and the one that I probably enjoyed the most. Until it got time to really commit to one, and for whatever reason, it was racing. And man, it's something that I maybe didn't fall in love with immediately, but and honestly, this about a year ago is when I kind of switched. I've been racing forever, obviously, but about a year ago, I kind of switched my whole mentality to go with racing and my work ethic and the whole thing. This is the most in love with it I've ever been. And you're right, there is a risk factor, right? There's things can go wrong. You can crash, you can hit a wall. I mean, I've had a couple concussions. I mean, people get hurt sometimes, but people get hurt playing baseball. People get hurt fishing.
Wiffle ball. I mean, I snapped my ankle playing wiffle ball.
Play wiffle ball.
Wiffle ball.
Yeah.
You can get hurt doing anything. So for me, honestly, in the race car, especially like on a long green flag run, we just raced Homestead Saturday. We ran the last until caution was 7 to go. We ran 100 some laps straight, 40-ish second lap times. That's quite a bit of time. You're dialed in, focused on getting every tenth of a second out of your lap. That is the most peaceful my life ever is going 170 miles an hour down the straightaway, getting on the brakes, getting the car turned back in the gas, just doing it over and over and over again. There's nothing, right? I've got my helmet on, I've got my earbuds in, my spotter is telling me where the other cars are if needed, lap time, stuff like that. But I'm not thinking about anything. There's nothing on my mind but what is going on in that moment.
So you have basically AirPods.
Yeah.
And you have somebody that's telling you, hey, car 3's left side.
Yeah. So there's a lot of radio activity during a race. So we've got on channel 1 is myself, my spotter, my crew chief, and then occasionally the guy that runs our team, his name is Chris Rice. He'll come on there and say some things if he feels the need to. And then that's all I have access to. Channel 2 is where the spotter and the crew chief will talk to not really clutter up the radio that I hear. And Chris Rice will talk on there a little bit more too. And that's where more detailed information is said. And then what the spotter deems necessary to tell me, he'll tell me on channel 1. Now, the spotter has access to both of those at the same time. And then the crew chief has access to both of those, and then like a little intercom system where we communicate with our teammates. So I drive the 10 car. We have the 11 and the 16 that also race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series under Colleague Racing. And those crew chiefs talk to each other at the same time with Chris and the engineers. So there's a lot of radio stuff, but yeah, I'll have my earbuds in, they're rolled into my ears. Generally, no sound gets in. Then I'll put my head sock on. Fireproof head sock kind of protects my neck. It goes down to about here-ish. Helmet on. I'll plug my earbuds into the helmet. The helmet has a cord that plugs into the wiring harness for the radios. And then I've got a button on my steering wheel. It's a push-to-talk. And I got a microphone inside my helmet. So when I need to talk, I push the button, they hear me, just like a headset like you see in the movies.
Yeah, it's fascinating because this is not anything that I've ever been like privy to. So I'm just curious. I got so many questions in my mind. I'm like thinking about this, but like, you know, the main question is like, do you get road rage? But like, I would like to know what it's like driving with you on the interstate.
Yeah, like how do you do that?
Like,
the road rage thing sometimes. My road rage on the streets is a lot more fun than the road rage in the race car because I can control the car, and if somebody's being an idiot, I had a guy the other week, like we had to merge and he's just not letting me in, so I kind of just made room and stuck my way in, and I get the double bird in the mirror. So like the only reasonable thing to do in that situation is slam on the brakes.
Yeah, right.
And then we're going the same direction for a minute. And then I go in the turn lane and he's going to keep going, and he stops next to me and rolls down the window. He's like, "You want to pull over?" And I go down the window, and I normally just like look at him crazy and make him think that I've got something wrong with me or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right, yeah, let's do it." I'm 150 pounds. I will never pull over. I will lose every fight. But I knew he wasn't going to do anything too, and I kind of cranked the wheel and he drove away. That's the fun. But in the race car, road rage is a whole different thing. There's a lot more at stake in a race car. When people are stupid at 180 miles an hour versus 50, it's a little bit of a different ball game.
Yeah.
It hurts more. It costs Matt Collig money. It costs me money for what I'm getting paid for where I finish. Then it costs us points because we're racing for a championship. So that you kind of keep a notebook. You know who's done what when. You race some guys a little bit differently that maybe race a little more aggressively. And then some guys you race with a lot more respect. So it's like I said, the notebook thing is real. You'll hear if you go to a race and something happens, you'll hear about the notebook. Race car drivers with their helmets on are kind of like elephants. We never forget. There's people that I still owe a couple. But it's not like you go out the next week and wreck them right away. You get them when it matters. You're not going to go wreck somebody for 12th, but if we're coming in line for a win and you wreck me, let's see. I'm not going to be specific, but there's one specific thing that I'm thinking about. Okay. But if you wrecked me this amount of years ago at this half mile in Indiana, then and we're coming to the start-finish line for a win,
right?
I'm probably going to race you a little bit differently because there's some history there. So
can you communicate?
I'm Googling that.
Can you communicate with
I'll tell you about it later.
Other drivers or no?
No. So you used to be able to. There was like a year where you could go to a different radio and it was just an all drivers channel.
Just chirping. Everybody chirping.
Yeah, that was like a mess. So like at Daytona and Talladega, you see everybody's drafting. So
yeah,
the draft is where like two cars will get in line or however many you can. And what happens there is like this car will take air off the so a bubble kind of forms around your race car when you're going 180 miles an hour with the resistance of the body in the air. You'll come with that bubble to the car in front of you. That bubble will kind of take air off the spoiler of the car in front of you, giving them less drag. Now you're in their wake, having less drag on your nose. It's just, all it does is create less air resistance, helps you go faster. But you have to work together. You have to kind of have friends. And they used to do that. They used to have a channel where you could go and, hey, 24 car, we're ready to try something different here. If you want to go to the top lane, we're ready for you. But they went away with that. I'm sure it got messy at some point. It would. I'd tell you, there's a lot of people that don't like each other in the Xfinity series. It'd probably get messy now.
I was just gonna say, do they not like each other on the track, but outside of the track, they're copacetic, cool? Or is it like globally, they're just like, this guy, he's a douche?
There's some of that, and there's both ways, right? So the worst, the best example that unfortunately is the worst for me, my best friend, Jesse Love, he drives a 2-car for Richard Childress. He won Daytona this year. First race of the year, he won Daytona. We started 12th, riding about 10th, lap 4. He gave a little bit of a bad push. Nothing intentional, but wrecked the 20 car, Brandon Jones, yellow Menards car. And I'm running the top lane, and he wrecks the car, and it shoots right. And the only other car that it hits is the 10 car. And so I'm wrecked out on lap 4. And at that point, I hated race car driver Jesse Love. But human being Jesse Love is still my friend. And I'm still generally happy that he won. Less happy because of what happened. But obviously he didn't mean to, and he and I have talked about it since. But yeah, there's when you put your helmet on, friendship kind of goes out the window. I've got Connor Zillich is a friend of mine. He drives the 88 car for Dale Jr. But he's not. Jesse's kind of my teammate. Our team and Richard Childress Racing kind of work together. So I race Jesse with more lenience than other cars that aren't our teammates or whatever. So Connor and I are friends, but I'm not necessarily going to race him like a teammate. I'll race him a little bit nicer because he's my friend, maybe. But like a Ford or a Toyota, it's gonna be impossible to pass me, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get around you.
I'll tell you this much: there's nothing like a NASCAR brawl, boys. Like after the race, and one of the drivers confronts another driver, and then all hell breaks loose, and everybody's involved.
Well, there's some good old boys in the garage area. The like Austin Hill, he's from Georgia. He's probably 205 pounds, just big, ready to rock. And that is not a guy that I have any intention of pissing off anytime soon.
So Ryan, I don't know if you know this either, but Daniel flies private too. Like he's a pilot, and he flies to a lot of his races, which is really cool. So, I mean, you've got like Fast and Furious in you, man.
The plane thing is a whole lot different though. That is a lot scarier than the race car. I'm going like half the speed, but it hurts to fall down on the ground if you're in the air. So you got to be a lot more careful in the airplane. There's a lot more going on.
Are you flying solo?
I am now. So I actually have not finished my license yet. I've flown to a couple races, but not by myself yet. I'm going to finish my license here now that it's warming up in Charlotte. I've done all it takes to fly solo. I actually fly to Pinehurst is where I do most of my solos. It's
convenient.
Like
Moore County,
60 nautical miles. So yeah, fly from Concord to Moore County Airport.
I love Moore
you
County
throw the
Airport.
sticks in there every time and peg it up or what?
I have twice. Yeah, I've just thrown them in the back seat of a Cessna 172. Tell my instructor I'm going to solo and
and you're off.
Fly right over the golf course coming in from Concord too.
You should. I had two buddies in my life that get a little bit of road rage. One of them is actually, it's probably a problem. You be in a car with him and he just starts. It's like, I don't know if it's like a Tourette's type situation with people. I don't know. I'm serious, but the other person is in this chat right now. My man Pep. I can't tell you how many times he'll call me. It's like he's calling me because he wants to be on the phone with someone while he's about to just tackle someone going 65 in the passing lane. Like he calls me last week and says, hey, there's this guy, and he's chirping at me about something. I'm giving him the finger. I'm yelling at him. I'm doing all this shit. Listen, you can hear him yelling. Listen. So I'm listening. I'm like, I don't hear him yelling, but he eggs people on all the time, weaving him in and out. Putting the finger out.
I drive so much for what I do in my life, and I'm sure you feel the same way. You just don't have time for these people, right? Like you drive like a jerk off.
Rolling 55 in the left lane. That's the one that gets me.
Well, but I'll tell you what really bothers me. This move, oh my God, wears me out. Is nobody, like the big sign that says yield when you're coming off an exit, and nobody knows what yield means. Like,
you just merge at the same time.
Yeah, I can't get over. So you're getting mad at me. I can't get over. You're supposed to like technically slow down.
According to the law.
And here we are. And that's when I start letting it fly.
My thing is when people are going slow in the left lane, I'll get in front of them, slow down enough that they have to try and pass me, and then when they move, I'll finally gas it up and go away. Just to that's like I'm as a good Samaritan to the people coming behind me.
So you talk about these cars wrecking, okay? These NASCAR cars. How much does one of these cars cost, or what's the range of a car?
Yeah, that I don't know. It's a difficult question, and I'm gonna guess that like the quality of cars that we put together. After we pay the people to make the chassis, we pay the engine shop, we, pay the body shop. So like after we put the bodies on, we put the suspension on, engine. I mean,
you're talking like $500,000 here?
No, I don't think that far, but I don't think we're far from a quarter.
Oh wow!
By the time it's all put together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really, it's difficult, and you can do it cheaper, and you really can't do it a whole lot more expensive than how we do it. But you can do it cheaper. So we've got the best engines, we've got the best parts, we've got the best bodies. So it's but all the good teams are throwing all their money at all the same things. So
yeah, I mean.
I'd guess if if you wanted to build one perfect car, by the time you paid everybody and bought what you needed to, probably 250-ish in, but that's a guess.
Yeah.
And their light is, I mean, they don't weigh a damn thing.
3250 is what we have to weigh when we take the green flag.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. It's good stuff.
So how do you, again, like how, Ryan kind of asked you, but like, how are you driving 200 miles an hour and then you go and get in the car at 65 miles an hour? How, or like when you're driving a golf cart, are you like, what, like I can get out and run fast.
Golf cart, what's going on with that?
The golf cart one is fun because then you just run into your buddies. I mean, you're not, if Ben Bridgers from Pinehurst is listening, I don't run into anybody in a Pinehurst golf cart, Ben, I promise. But I mean, I don't know. It's just different, right? I mean, I'm not a huge car guy. That's the one kind of misconception that, like, when I talk to fans for a minute or whatever, they, I have something. So I don't know. I don't even know how to pretend.
I don't know what that is.
Like like I said, I've got a Suburban. That's what I drive. I like big cars. I've got a Tahoe coming.
The new Tahoes are sick.
Yeah, that's what I got, a red one, all blacked out, but red paint, because most of my cars are red with Champion container. Yeah, I mean, I go as fast as I need to on the weekends and slow it down a little bit. Obviously, I like to get places quick.
Yeah.
But I'm not going 100 bobbing and weaving through lanes, but I set the cruise to 82, 83 and just ride down to wherever I'm going. It's kind of like the opposite of if you're getting chased by an alligator. As long as you're not the fastest guy, then you're
But you're
fine.
the smartest.
So sure.
Yeah, you gotta be smart.
Some would disagree. Some of my competitors probably disagree.
I do enjoy having the radar detector though.
I got one of those.
A couple of the whips.
I mean, nobody.
But they got the laser now. That's how they get you. It doesn't read the laser.
Well, this one, this one picks up the laser though.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
How much was it?
Like 700.
Oh, yeah, I spent 200 on mine. Mine does not pick up a laser.
Yeah, mine picks up laser. And I don't speed, but sometimes I like to hit it and feel it a little bit. In West Virginia, I think if you get caught speeding over 100 miles an hour, and maybe this is a law across the country. I don't know, but I know in West Virginia, if you get caught going over a hundo, you're automatically going to jail.
I think, and I may be wrong, and
You're probably right.
Just talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday or Saturday, but y'all see that girl that's like all popular because of her mugshot that she got arrested for speeding.
Yeah.
In whatever state that was, it's 25 over or double the speed limit is a mandatory arrest. So like anything over 60 and a 30 is a mandatory arrest, or anything over 95 and a 70. But I don't know we can look. I don't know what North Carolina is. Probably take a minute to.
I think she got arrested twice within like 20 minutes, or she got pulled over twice within like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't look into
Something.
I clicked because of her image, but whatever.
it.
So golf, man, you love the pursuit of chasing birdies. It sounds like you kind of got that bug in you. You got some buddies you play with, or do you just take it but yourself? I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem golfing myself. It's nice enough here in Charlotte. We got enough nice golf courses that everybody else around here likes golf too. So you're really not gonna get to play by yourself much. But I do like playing with my buddies. Most of my racing buddies golf. Jesse, Connor, both those guys I told you about, and then Brent Cruz is another one that races that we golf with. We're playing Wednesday. But yeah, it's honestly something I got into probably May of 23. I haven't been playing much, played very long. But I like it. Just be outside, and something my dad's really good at. He went to Bethany in West Virginia on a full ride in 1932 or whatever it was. So it was he's really good. Still, he's probably a 2 or a 3 right now, and he's 64.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm probably probably 15. It's nothing. I'm not great. I have sometimes glimmers of hope.
Can keeps you coming back for more, right?
Yeah, it's always at the end too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you triple 12, 13, 14, double 15, and then like, oh, par 17, 18. Nice. But Pinehurst is close. We got a house at Pinehurst.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, nothing wild, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I go over there when I can. Honestly thinking about going, which I'm glad I said this now. Gonna look at tee times for Sunday. We race Martinsville Saturday, so it's we're close. We're not flying anywhere.
Right.
So thinking about going and playing Sunday if the weather's good. So yeah, nice to just shoot over there. Members over there, so just get on the golf course and go.
I love that.
Is that like something to do with the FedEx Cup in golf? Is it kind of the same thing? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's 3 NASCAR National Series. There's the NASCAR Truck Series. That's what I raced in last year. There's a NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's what I race in now. And then the highest level of NASCAR competition is the NASCAR Cup Series. So for me, kind of a decent way to look at it is because golf is so hard and so many people play golf, I'm probably like a good guy in the Korn Ferry Tour right now.
I got you. Okay. That's a great analogy.
Because it's hard to use like AAA baseball, right? Because there's however many AAA baseball teams there are with how many ever players, 30, 40 people on a roster. It's hard to say that because there's only 30 full-time NASCAR Xfinity drivers. There's only 35 full-time NASCAR Cup Series drivers. So the top 65 drivers in the sport are at the top 2 series.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm one step from the top right now.
Well, I was just.
But you're gonna get to the top.
Yeah, that's obviously the goal, and that's kind of my plan every weekend. Is it's kind of an audition. Try and do all the right things, be good on camera, be good in the race car, maximize everything you can. I think teams look hard at restarts. So you don't want to lose spots on restarts. That's just when we all line up next to each other and green flag comes out. That's when everybody's the closest. So that's your time to maximize. That's your time to score, basically, and get closer to the front. Pit road's a big thing, just maximizing your time on pit road. Try to make it as quick as possible. We can't control the pit crews, but they do measure driver time on pit road, which is just we run our lights is what we call it. You'll hear about running your lights. That's just being as close to the speed limit as you can the whole way down pit road. And we don't have a speedometer. We do some math and we try and keep it at 40 to 40 RPMs is like 49.9 miles an hour when the speed limit's 50. Because if you touch the speed limit, you sped. Then you have to start at the back.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
I didn't know any of this. I know nothing about this. And I'll just be honest. Terrible host, but it's just the truth.
My father-in-law and my brother-in-law love NASCAR. But how quick you pull in to change the tires? What's the time? Like, what do you expect out of your crew?
So the Cup Series is different. They run a one lug nut configuration. So they only have to pull off one larger lug nut to take off each tire. Us, we have 5. So we're 5 on, 5 off, just kind of like a street car. So a good pit stop, which I don't have our sheet yet.
Yeah, let's review these numbers from this past weekend. Like, is this acceptable or not?
We can go 2 weeks back. We can go to Vegas and look at this.
Okay, so you got 20 nuts to pull off if we're taking all 4.
Yep, Vegas should have okay. No, let's go to Andy Street. Andy Street is the technical director for the Xfinity program at Richard Childress Racing, who is our technical alliance. So that's who I'm getting this from. All right, we've got this is
all real data.
This is
people.
A pit road heat map. So they're in the middle, we're generally going the same speed all the way down, but for whatever reason, NASCAR's computer system is reading our speeds faster in the middle for some reason. Okay, so driver time. I I didn't do great. My best stop was the 41st best out of, let's see, probably 200 some pit stops. So, I mean, not awful, but not good enough. We want to be somewhere in the top 30 for every stop. But we had interesting stuff going on. So, anyways, our best four tire stop that day was 15.44 seconds. So that's taking off 4 tires, putting 4 tires on, and putting a full tank of gas in it. Now, that was fairly slow because we were bad at Vegas, and we were taking basically, it's not a wrench like what you think of a wrench is, but putting adjustments in the car with a tool that the tire changer does that, and that takes his time away from actually changing the tire, making adjustments to the chassis to fix the handling of our race car. So the best stop all day was 13.66 seconds. That was the 20 car, Joe Gibbs Racing, lap 94. That was the best 4 tire stop. The best average was the 2 team. Their average of 3 stops was 14.26 seconds.
So your best to the best is 1.8 second difference. Okay, that's a bit. 1.8 seconds is a big difference, correct?
For sure, yes. I mean, that was that. They didn't have a great week, but we put them in a bad spot because we were making changes the whole time. So these cars that have fast pit stops aren't making big swings at it. So they're all they're doing is taking off 4 tires, putting 4 tires on, and fueling the race car. Us, we were making changes trying to make changes to the handling of the car.
So how many guys do this? 4?
You've got a jackman, 2 tire changers, and a tire carrier. Is it 4 or 5? I think it's 5. So 2 carriers, 2 changers.
So
I think it's 5.
Hypothetical. Ryan and I.
Oh, and a gas man.
Ryan and I get 3 buddies to come in.
Yeah.
What would you say would be like a good number for us changing all this and filling the tank up?
If you've never done it before, if you beat
10 minutes?
No, it's not as crazy as you think. But
yeah, I don't think
if you were I think
I
if
can
you
barely
were
pick the tire up. What are you talking about?
That's the problem is the tires are heavy.
Well, bud, you want to be picking them up.
If you're faster than 35 seconds, that'd be pretty good. So like if you were close to double, but that's kind of moving.
That's pushing it though.
That's kind of moving. Like, I'm giving y'all some credit right now.
That might be like the 10th
Yeah, I
time
don't
we
think
do
they're.
it.
If we gave you a little bit of practice, I bet you probably get sub 30. But first time, if you, I don't know.
I'd probably lose one of the nuts. Like it would just be a debacle.
Well, so that's the thing. We glue the nuts on the wheel that's getting ready to get put on. So when you take them off, they're going. So they come so fast off that they just fly off.
And
so
you just leave
5
them
off and they go away.
And then
the wheels put on, the lug nuts already glued to the hole so that the changer can now just 5 and leave. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be chaos.
It's chaos. And I'm coming in at 50 miles an hour, coming to a stop in a couple feet, and I'm not trying to hit these guys, and they're just jumping in a moving car, getting ready to change the tires and put gas in it.
Going from that as your profession to the golf course must be such a nice change for you because golf, so to speak, is relaxing, and you're just kind of moseying around, right? And that has to be.
I'll take your word for it. It's not very relaxing when I play it, but it is a nice change of scenery, like you said. It's fun to kind of cool down, relax. But man, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like I just was telling you about that long run at Homestead where we ran however many laps back to back, and you're focused. Your mind doesn't wander one bit. That's when golf is going good, is when your pace is good, right?
Right.
You get to the ball, you hit the ball, you drive to the next shot, you get ready, you hit it, you're in a little bit of a rhythm. Then you catch a group of 4 guys that escape the nursing home, and then everything goes
see
wrong.
ball, hit ball, fine ball.
Yep.
I'll tell you this much. I was looking at the Xfinity schedule, Bash, and Saturday, May 31st, we have to mosey on down to Nashville, Tennessee.
You're there. If you want to be there, it is easy.
we're really tied in with a bunch of the country music boys, and if you're able to stay Sunday and play some golf on Sunday, we've got some 6 spots we could do it at after.
We'll plan on it. We'll go ahead and lock it in. I'm there. We'll get you out to the race, put you on the pit box.
Changing tires or?
We're gonna keep you out of the pit crew this week. Maybe the next time.
Okay.
But yeah, put you on the pit box. You'll see all the data and stuff that the team has access. I mean, like I said, it's a whole different experience. And Nashville's a cool. I finished second at Nashville last year.
Let's go.
So got to be nice to get a checker flag there.
Well, man, we'll be rooting you. I know my man IP Ian Patrick's been sending us all the lowdown.
I don't get any more attention on Instagram from IP's got it. IP, he just had the number 10 golf cart the other day, dude. He was on it. He was pumped about it.
Oh, that's funny.
The dude is the funniest human being ever. He's 51 years old.
And he's great. When we golfed, I think he shot 70 maybe.
Yeah.
And I guess I was just so starstruck the whole time I didn't notice. But I mean, he didn't do anything there wasn't any holy moly, that was spectacular. But that's what the good golfers do. There's nothing spectacular in either way. They don't make huge mistakes. Like when I'm chasing my golf ball across the green and I've already passed the hole 3 times, back and forth, that's where my score goes to 85. But God, those guys, I mean, Neil pulled a couple, but still is on the green in 3 and 1 putts. And it's just they're scrappy.
Yeah.
But it's just a whole different golf game for them. He's a good golfer.
Yeah, no, it's good time. It's good stuff, man. They're good people, and I'm happy you got to meet him. And because of that, we got to hang it out with you here a little bit. I learned a hell of a lot today here.
Yeah.
On my own podcast, I learned so much, which is great. That's the way me and Pep should have it. So, my man, I'm going to keep rooting for you, and we appreciate you coming on the show. But before we end today's episode, we're going to turn it over to the tap-in segment with Peppy doing his thing, asking you some questions here that might be weird, probably repetitive, but at the end of the day, a little comical. So here he goes.
All right. Most times you've gone to the bathroom on yourself in a race?
Just once at Montgomery Motor Speedway in Montgomery, Alabama. Long red flag. I think there's a fire. So we're sitting there for 35, 40 minutes, just sitting there with my thoughts. I've tried other times because it's gotten bad, but nope, just one.
Wow. Favorite race of the year?
Probably Daytona to start the year, just as a kickoff. That's my home race, being from Daytona. Gets everything going, so I like that one.
Dream foursome, dead or alive, on the golf course?
My dad. Let's see. Man, I don't know. My dad, probably Tiger Woods, and I can't even think of another guy that
Roberto Clemente.
Just for my dad. Probably that.
Least favorite golf club?
Oh, that changes so often. Right now, probably my 3-wood. I think. I don't know. All of them at the moment.
And the last question, which I have a good idea. I know what you're going to say, but what are you chasing?
I'm chasing checkered flags, but I'll be chasing birdies in the other time.
Well, we're going to be watching you chase these checkered flags. We wish you nothing but success the rest of the year, and we appreciate you coming on Chasing Birdies.
Yeah, Daniel, my man, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Do another time soon.
That's me in a NASCAR, boys. What's up? Man, my man Daniel Dye, what a story that is. The kid's 21 years old. Full circle, how we met. Neil Walker, his favorite player growing up. Roberto Clemente is his dad's favorite player growing up.
Yeah.
Neil's dad with Roberto. It's just, isn't that crazy how the world works, dude?
That is.
And there might be some content coming of us changing tires, because I want to see what we can get it done. I told him 15 minutes. He said that was too long.
Yeah, it'd be under 15 minutes, dude.
But we could do it. You can't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could do it under 15 minutes, and I think you can, too. I didn't really like.
There was just
I'm so
much
interested in that world because that's something that I've never been exposed to. You know what I mean? And it's like you're behind the wheel. I like to. I don't want to get into this in the episode because of the time, but man, I do like to hit the gas a little bit. I like to get it going a little bit. But you get to that point where you're just like, okay, I'm coming back down. You know, you get a little adrenaline rush, but I can't imagine that feeling for hours just ripping it around in a circle.
I mean,
in a circle.
My issue would be I pee every 20 minutes. So, like, I would need, like, new diapers changed on me at the pit stops.
Yeah. No, it's very cool, man. You would need diapers.
I mean, and he's on a incline. He's doing really well. And he just had a top 10 finish. And it sounds like we might be going to a NASCAR race, bud. Xfinity Series.
No, first time for everything, and I'm all game for that. I'll tell you that.
So
that'd be a blast.
Oh, would that be a blast? I mean, my luck, I'll end up not going to switch off or something. I'll ruin the whole thing, but data tracking or whatever. But that's so impressive to me. How quickly they are changing everything, filling the tank up, going. You know, there's no speedometer. You have to judge it. And again, like for him to go to a golf course, I'd be like, this is the slowest thing I've ever played my whole entire life. What are we doing here?
Yeah, total opposite. But he loves it.
So,
and
good.
That's great. You know, 14 seconds to do that is just insane. So, hats off to you, Daniel. I know I'll be watching you, and I've been up to date with him. You have been too because of Ian. So
yeah,
we're in the mix.
Ian Patrick.
We're in the mix. So, Bud, the weekend's here. Just about. There's still some basketball. The Sweet 16's kicking off. The Elite 8's kicking in. Who do you got right now winning it all? Right now, as it stands today.
Well, I got two sides to that, okay? I mean, one side, I got Duke in our bracket, which is whatever. But, and I'm in a little bit of a pickle here because I just took Arizona. I threw down $50 to win $3,200 for them as my sleeper to win the whole thing.
No way.
And Arizona plays Duke.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm going to know where I stand real quick.
Well, let me tell you this. I got Florida going, and I got Zona beating Duke in the Sweet 16 in my bracket.
Hot damn. I mean, dude, I put that bet in $3,200 for $50 investment.
I never had the FanDuel shit before, but I just got it just for funsies. But the parlay builders are my absolute favorite, dude. I mean, you're never gonna hit them, but the odds they give you on like a 10-teamer or 12 or 14, even a 16 bagger is ridiculous. I'm like, what the hell? And it's just for fun. Yeah. I mean, you're losing. It's donation, you know.
Yeah, right.
But it's good though, my man. 3 weeks away, the Masters is here.
Yeah, and I saw you up at our favorite spot this past weekend, grinding it out in the simulator. So that's good for you.
Yeah, I was there at Nemi this past weekend, Nemacolin Resort, and I was doing the damn thing. Met the new pro in the Learning Academy, hitting some balls, working through the things. Great spot to be. The resort was kind of bumping for March, so it's probably a foreshadow of what's going to happen in the summer because they're really going to be busy. Gusto's just kicking ass up there. So make sure you people go on over to nemacolin.com, check them out, take your family, friends, whatever you have in your life. They would love it. Something for everyone, and we're happy to be partners with Nemacolin. So that's where the 2-man event is.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Chasing birdies too, man. July. So July 27th to 29th, we got more than last year, so that's a lot of fun. But with that, man, like I'm not in a NASCAR car where I can just go to the bathroom right now, but I really do have to go to the bathroom.
Gotta go. Okay.
And so without further ado, you all have a kick-ass week. Make sure you go to Chasing_birdies. Check the new cups out that I've been drinking out of. They are really nice, which I gotta tell you, Bash, great job on these because they are cool. They keep my coffee so hot and my tequila cold. So it's a nice little mixture, nice little balance. Yeah. So
yeah, you'll be able to get those here soon in our pro shop. So As always, thank y'all for tuning into this week's episode of Chasing Birdies. Thank you to Allie, Emily, and Evo over at Simpler Media for putting this thing together. And as always, Jacqueline DiPaterio, Rachel London, for all your social media help. You guys enjoy your weekend. Have a good time on the golf course. Watch some b-ball. And we will catch y'all in 2.